Guys, I was watching something and I just couldn't wait. I was like, I could discuss this on my community tab, but I wanted to make a video so I can really get my thoughts out. It's easier to just speak. Anyway, I'm watching this reality show, this dating reality show, and there's drama going on. One of the things that one of the ladies brought up is that this guy, he tells her what to wear. He's like, I don't like it when you dress loosely. So one of the girls in the house was bringing that up to this guy, like, you should stop doing that. You shouldn't, like, tell your girl what to wear. Now, I agree that when you're deep in a relationship, if you found her that way, you're gonna have a tough time now saying after the fact, after you've committed to her, like, by the way, stop doing this thing. I don't think that's wise. And yeah, I think in that sense they are correct that it's unfair, because she wouldn't have committed to you if she knew that those were your boundaries, if she knew that you're not cool with that. So I agree, it's difficult to get into a relationship and then start making all these requests for changes. I should have brought that up earlier. However, one thing this girl said that was, giving this guy advice. She was saying you shouldn't, like, women can do what they want, and we're our own people, we can do what we want, da 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 da. And I'm like, I was thinking to myself, that's such nonsense, because that's not true for anyone. First of all, this concept that you're your own person, I don't know exactly when it started springing up, this notion, but that hasn't always been the case. Human beings didn't always think that way. This idea that I'm my own person, I do what I want. In here in South Africa, we have a saying. A person is a person because of other people. Let me find the actual. So the person goes as follows. Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. A person is a person through other persons. Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. And it's a Zulu phrase. Some people say it's Desmond Tutu's quotes, but who cares? Someone said it. The late Desmond Tutu, rest in peace. So it's particularly sad to hear this girl saying this, because she's Japanese. Japan is known for its communal values, like one band, one sound. Basically, you live in a community. You're held to account by your community. This notion that you're your own person just floating in the abyss, your actions have no consequences on those around you, it's so absurd. You're connected to other people and all your movements pull at them, right? So it's simply not true that you're your own person, first of all. Second of all, you can't just do what you want. That's not true for anyone. And obviously that's not true. Especially in the context of a relationship. Because in a relationship, we're not representing each other. So for example, if I'm dating a girl, I'm constantly getting into fights, I'm constantly causing problems with other people, I'm lying, I'm stealing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm developing a bad reputation. That reflects badly on her as well, because she's my other half. So now people are going to be wondering, why are you with him? You're basically co-signing this by being with him. Your name is attached to him. Like, if you're married and you're carrying my name and I'm acting wild and bringing shame to our family name, the name you share with me, of course you're going to be pissed. You're going to be like, stop doing that. You're not just embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing me. So this notion that in a relationship you can just do what you want, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. With this guy in this reality show, he couldn't say anything because he's surrounded by these girls. If he starts piping up and disagreeing, he's not gonna look good. He's gonna look like a monster. Even the hosts of the show, because they'll cut away from like the hotel shared space where this whole show takes place, and they'll go back to the studio and get the hosts' opinions because there's people that kind of comment on the goings on of the show, and the hosts were agreeing, saying, "Yeah, I agree with that girl. Like, yeah, women should wear what they want." And there's people watching at home as well. There's a bunch of women watching at home as well. So this guy knows that if I start talking, running my mouth, saying no, no, espousing all these traditional values, which I'm sure most people in Japan hold anyway, including women. Most women, I don't know about most women in Japan, but traditionally, it might be a generational thing. I'm sure the older women would agree. It's a generational thing. I'm sure the men, even the men in that room who were with him agree, but they were quiet. They weren't saying a damn thing because they know if I open my mouth now, you're gonna get flamed. You're gonna look like a bad guy for just sharing your opinion. So he's just quiet, just nodding his head like, oh, okay, okay. And I was just like, this is unfortunate because now they make him seem like controlling and this, that, and third. And maybe he is. Again, once you're in the relationship, these are things you should have figured out before you got with her. Like, you should have discussed your values and what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept before you come into the relationship. So it's hard to then get in a relationship and say, stop wearing that, stop wearing that. It's like, dude, you should have known who you're dating. I do think it's important to be able to accept correction from your partner. So as your man, if I see that you're doing something that I think is not good, I should be able to tell you that you stop doing that. And hopefully you're humble enough to listen. And there's going to be times where I'm doing something, probably a lot of times where I'll be doing something that's not good, and you'll tell me, and I also have to adjust. That's how relationships work. This notion, this modern notion that you can just do what you want, it's not true. You have to be able to correct each other. If you can't correct each other, then what kind of relationship is that? You know what I'm saying? So if you just zoom out and just think about it on a societal level, this concept that you can just do what you want. So if it's late at night, you've been out drinking, you're drunk, belligerent, making noise, you're in a quiet neighborhood, walking with your friends, just screaming and howling at the top of your lungs, waking up people are telling you to shut up. Can you just do what you want, or do you have to be considerate of other people? A decent person would agree that you have to shut your mouth and get home quietly, right? Maybe don't get pissed drunk and then make your way home to a quiet neighborhood. I don't know. So obviously you can't do what you want. There's boundaries, there's rules. You have to consider the people around you. How much more true is that in a very, very close relationship? Yeah, you have to be sensitive. You can't just do what you want. You're representing the other person. You have more freedom when you're single. When you're single, you have more room to be a little bit more, risque. But once you're in a relationship, man, the game changes. But I think in general, people should move properly. I think generally speaking, there shouldn't be a way you conduct yourself. To show that you respect yourself, you respect your parents. Because people also look at your parents like, what kind of person did you raise? Why are they acting this way? Anyway, going back to the thing about clothing. Imagine your girl decides one day, I'm just going to wear this pink blazer and nothing underneath. So underneath, I'm no bra, no nothing. I'm just wearing a pink blazer and some pants. some heels. I'm going out like this. And I'm not supposed to say anything. I'm not supposed to say a damn word. That's absurd. Of course I'm gonna say something. I'm like, babes, you're not wearing anything. People can see your tits. I should be allowed to say that. That's common sense. This whole free the nipple movement is ridiculous because we're acting like boobs aren't sexual. Then why is it that when women want to get a man's attention, they show off their cleavage? You have to make up your mind about that. It's either boobs are sexual or they aren't, and we know they are. That's why you cover them up. Well, you're supposed to these days. People are pushing it, man. They're pushing the limits. But everyone knows that boobs are sexual. It's just that some of these feminists, they play a very disingenuous game where they lie to you and they gaslight you and act like boobs aren't sexual. That people aren't sexually attracted to boobs. They are. Men 100% are sexually attracted to boobs. That's why it's not appropriate to walk around with your tits out or your cheeks out. Are you going to argue that a bum isn't inherently sexual? Like, bums weren't meant for for sex. That's what the vagina is for. But your bum is just your bum, right? And yet, men are attracted to that. Are you just gonna cut a hole in your pants and walk around with your ass out, hanging out of your pants? Of course not. That's disgusting. It's inappropriate. In public, at home, in private, in the bedroom. Okay, now we're talking. now it's amazing. But in public, in front of everyone, no. Imagine you asked to go out like that, and you can say that's an extreme example, But it's you who's making the argument that you can do whatever you want and no one's allowed to tell you what to do, what to wear, yada yada yada. But the people are absolutely allowed to tell you. If you're crossing the line, it's such a stupid notion that you can just do what you want. You can't. You know how self-centered you have to be to genuinely believe I can do what I want and no one can tell me anything? Surely you don't genuinely believe that. People can 100% tell you something if they believe that you're being inappropriate. Children are gonna see you. The society at large is gonna see you. Little girls are gonna see you. I remember I was at a Starbucks and I saw this girl. She could not have been older than 13. She was very young. She was wearing a shirt. I think she was wearing shorts, but I could not see the shorts. That's how short they were. And shoes, sneakers. So all I could see was sneakers, her legs, her bare thighs, and a shirt. And I'm like, how? And she was with her father, which made it even crazy. I was looking at her father like, how did you let this little girl leave the house like this? What's wrong with you? It's not, kids shouldn't be dressing like this. No one should be dressing like this, really, but especially little girls. So I'm like, this man is failing his daughter, man. Because, this thing of if there's anyone who has the right to tell a woman what to do, it's her father. When you're raising your child, when you're raising your daughter, you should definitely instill in them your values and your traditions and let them know that we don't do this here. And I want you to grow up being a self-respecting woman who dresses appropriately in public. I don't know why that's controversial. So I just had to get that off my chest. It was driving me crazy. I'm like, I had to pause and have a debate with myself, and then I was like, wait, let me film this. Why am I just talking to myself? I can literally just put this on my channel and get other people's thoughts. I'm very grateful for the many people that get to see these videos. But yeah, guys, ladies, I know there's going to be at least a few women seeing this. And I know there'll be at least a few that strongly disagree. But once you're in a relationship, you need to abandon this concept that you're your own person, you can do whatever you want. That's not how relationships work. You become a representative of the other person, and you have to take their feelings and wants and needs into account. You're not your own person. You can't just do what you want. And that's why a lot of relationships fail these days. They don't go very far. Because people are supposed to be like this, moving in accordance, but instead people are going in their own directions, not agreeing on anything. And that's why it's important as well for a relationship to have a leader, because you can't have a two-headed snake. One head is trying to go in this direction, the other one's trying to go there. You need to have someone that's directing you. And usually the best person suited for that job is the man. There are some men who are not capable of leading their bums, but you shouldn't be with the bum in the first place. You should be with a capable man who can take charge and lead effectively. So you should pick wisely, of course. You don't want to be someone that makes you miserable. But I do think it's important for someone to lead. Otherwise, there's chaos and arguing and all sorts of nonsense takes place in that context. And again, you have to consider the crazy divorce rates. People will say that's because marriage doesn't work. I don't know if you know this, but extramarital relationships have a higher dissolution rate than marriage. So that means relationships outside of marriage, if you're not married, that relationship doesn't have great chances either. In fact, it has worse chances than a marriage, because you know what, with marriage, you're forced to stay there, and there's so many barriers keeping you from getting out that most people just choose to stay regardless, right? So if you're forced to stay, you might as well make it work. So that's just for the people saying marriage doesn't work, yada yada yada. It's the best option you have. Because I'll tell you what, people who have kids outside of marriage, they always split up, and those kids end up in these weird single parent household situations, and you see dads sometimes and yada yada yada. Marriages last longer than any other relationship. It's not even close. So when you're in that situation, you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up to make this work? What bad habits do you have? Maybe you don't see it as a bad habit, but what are you willing to give up to just have peace in the household and make things work? That takes maturity. I think most people would agree that this thing of dressing loosely, being scantily clad, showing your midriff everywhere you go, half your ass cheeks are hanging out of your booty shorts, it's not appropriate. I think most people would agree. But yeah, I'm sure that's some very strong opinions, but I welcome them actually. I welcome these strong opinions. I want to know what people think. And this is something where I'm very this is common sense to me. I'm very set on this, because to me it's obvious that you aren't your own person. You can't just do what you want. And society is better when women dress up. They cover their boobs, they cover their bums, they cover their bellies. Society is better when women dress that way. We've become a society of degenerates, of perverts, and it's very unfortunate that we can't see what's wrong with all of this. It's so obvious what's wrong with all of this. Your body is a temple, sex is sacred, your body is a symbol of sex. You shouldn't be walking around drawing gazes, and you know that's what's happening. You know that people can't help but be attracted to a naked body. And it's very disingenuous when people say, oh, it's your fault. But it's like you're walking around looking like a piece of meat. It's very disingenuous when people say it's your fault for looking. I've I don't understand why people do that and then are surprised that people find that attractive. Let me end it there. Should I just end the video? Because I pray in my other video. There's another video popping up at 6 p.m. South African Standard Time. I just pray. Dear Father God, thank you for this individual watching us right now. Thank you for making them whole, unique, and guiding them upon towards peace, prosperity, and purpose. Thank you for blessing this person with wonderful people in love them, take care of them, really absolute best out of them, and thank you for maintaining the ones that are there to do the same thing. Thank you for blessing this person with love, marriage, and sustaining that love and marriage and making it very, very happy. Thank you for blessing this person with a spirit of gratitude so they can give thanks for all the wonderful things in life and by giving thanks they can find peace, contentment, and attractive all blessings. Let your presence be found in this person's life so they know that you call them free with their love, that you love them, you're always going